Hi, beautiful soul. This is Hanneke from Twin Soul Alchemy. Welcome to this channel on blossoming on the twin flame journey. In this video, I will be discussing the December energies for divine counterparts, the masculine and the feminine energy, starting with the new moon in Sagittarius that just happened and moving further into December, approaching the end of the year. In short, I will be discussing how the masculine energy is asked to pause and to really go within. He's almost literally being stopped in his tracks. The feminine energy as well is being guided to go within and do some more healing on self-worth. There's this invitation to really align with this profound realization that you are not your emotions, you're not your reflections, you're not the noise of your ego, you are something deeper. I am that I am. You are stillness, unmoved, bypassing illusion. And everything else is temporary. And it is from this state of neutrality that creation becomes effortless. There is no resistance, no striving, only being. We are not here to fix, to prove, to chase. We are here to experience. And that is our power, our truth. And that is the gift of December's energy, to reclaim our wholeness and to create from a place of being, not seeking. And it is under the expansive influence of Sagittarius, which is called the seeker of the zodiac, that we are reminded of this truth. Sagittarius energy inspires us to explore and to expand and to pursue the higher meaning of life. But this December Sagittarius offers us a different kind of seeking. It's not an external journey, but an internal one. And the Sagittarius new moon that happened a couple of days ago on December 1st invited us to align with our higher truths and to set intentions for growth. But it also asked us to shift our perspective. What if the ultimate discovery lies not in the act of seeking, but in the courage to be? There's also been the influence of Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius that began on November 25th and will conclude on December 15th. This Mercury retrograde calls for reflection and reevaluation and reassessment of beliefs and plans as well. And it encourages us to reflect on internal narratives. I don't know how you have experienced this Sagittarius season with the combination of Mercury retrograde, but for me, wow, it felt like there was this incessant voice of the ego in my mind. And this incessant voice that suddenly became clear to me was constantly urging me to seek, to seek, to seek. And if you're not aware of this happening, then, this voice might consume you. It might drive you to take action. But there's actually this invitation to become aware of the voice without being consumed by it, to find out, where is this voice coming from? Can you hear this unconscious narrative that is constantly seeking from outside, from the outside world? This retrograde is an opportunity to reassess the beliefs that keep you searching for anything external and to realign with your inner truth. It will really help that Neptune will start to go direct again on December 7th. After months of retrograde motion, this shift heightens our spiritual awareness and our creativity and our connection to the unseen. And it will dissolve illusions and invite us as well to align with the deeper truths. And it will inspire compassion and intuition. And during its retrograde, we may have faced confusion and disillusionment. But now this fog will begin to lift again. It could feel like the things that were clouding your judgment will now dissolve. And we will get a clear understanding of our spiritual path. And it encourages us to trust our intuition and our imagination as tools for growth. So it's a really good time to lean into your dreams and your creative expression while staying grounded in discernment. Always coming from a place of neutrality and stillness. What's also important in December is that the North Node is in Aries, and it's been in Aries since 2023, July 2023, and it will remain in Aries until January 11th next year. And this 18-month transit emphasizes themes of independence and courage and self-discovery, and it encourages us to assert our individuality and to pursue personal growth. And of course, while the North Node is in Aries, the South Node resides in Libra, and that prompted a release of tendencies towards codependence and an overemphasis on partnerships. And so this whole time there's been this, well, you could say tension or balance between self-assertion and harmonious relationships. And we've purged a lot of things. When you've listened to my videos before, you will recognize this, that I've talked about this a lot in the last couple of months. And it was all encouraging us to step deeper into our sovereignty, into our power, and helping us release everything that is standing in the way. So it has been a whole journey of stepping into our personal leadership and to learn how to take initiative in creating the lives that we deserve. But of course, always in alignment with a higher vision for both our personal and our collective growth. And so that brings us to what is happening with the masculine and feminine energies in December. Because yes, we've been on this whole transit of the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra for 18 months, and it's going to end soon. But we're still releasing some things. We're still learning some things on this path. And so in my video on the full moon, I talked about how the masculine energy often oscillates between moments of vulnerability and openness and retreating into fear and resistance, what we all know as the push-pull dynamic. And I've talked about how the feminine energy, how if she detaches from codependent behaviors, she impacts that dynamic as well. And so in December, the masculine energy is still in a period of introspection and recalibration, and it is largely influenced by Mars going retrograde in Leo that is beginning on December 6th. This retrograde invites the masculine energy to pause and to reflect on how it asserts power, how it expresses creativity and aligns actions with authentic desires. And during this time, the masculine may feel a sense of restriction and frustration because the usual drive to push forward is really being slowed down. When I say masculine energy, I mean masculine energy. I mean, we all carry masculine energy within us, and some of us feel dominant masculine energy, and some of us may find it hard to connect with our masculine energy. But if you really go within, you can sense it, that it is within you. And if you connect with it, you might feel this frustration. Because even though there is this desire for expansion, now is not the time for external achievements. It's about reconnecting with your inner truth and aligning with your, I would say, personal goals that are aligned with deeper values. So the way that I usually describe this is align your actions with the inner joy, what is bringing you joy, and align your actions. And in this current energy, anything else is just being slowed down. It's just you're being stopped in your tracks. You might even feel that you're becoming sick. Sometimes that's how our soul is speaking to us through our body, and it's saying, no, this is not the route that you're supposed to take. I'm slowing you down. You have to stop, go within, wait, align. One of the most significant lessons for the masculine energy right now is to move away from ego-driven actions and to truly embrace authenticity. And Mars retrograde encourages the masculine to recognize and heal wounds related to control and dominance still, and to replace impulsive behavior with intentional and purpose-driven actions. And this period challenges the masculine to confront insecurities that may be masked by outward displays of strength. These might fall away, and it's an encouragement to foster a deeper and more grounded sense of self. And in relationships, the masculine energy may appear hesitant or slow to act, or may even be absent at all, because he's reflecting his need for internal alignment before progressing outwardly. So if you feel that the masculine energy is absent, don't worry. It's the process of aligning assertive energy with the heart rather than relying on external validation, external strengths, or force. And the feminine energy. In my previous video on the full moon, I talked about the feminine energy going through a profound shift in self-worth, and that the energy was helping the feminine energy to release old patterns of undermining her value. Feminine energy started setting boundaries and learning to communicate from a place of authenticity and vulnerability, distinguishing between speaking from wounds and expressing true emotional openness. Because there is a difference between communicating your wounds, communicating how you feel because you're triggered, or truly communicating from a vulnerable place and taking responsibility for your part in the connection. It takes a lot of courage to do that, and a lot of self-trust. And it is by communicating your truth honestly, showing up for yourself, and at the same time remaining open for connection. That is how you build this self-trust within you. That is how you show up for yourself. That is how you respect yourself as a divine feminine. Because sometimes I get the question, but how can I trust that my masculine will treat me respectfully? But the thing is, if you treat yourself respectfully, that is the only way that the masculine can start to treat yourself respectfully. At least in a twin flame connection where your divine counterpart is your mirror. They can only start to treat you respectfully if you do that yourself. And believe me, this can be a challenge. It doesn't have to be, but it is for most of us. The biggest wound of the feminine energy is our self-worth. We place our worth in the outside. And this is not strange when we look back on where we came from, when we look at patriarchy and so on. But I really want to say that from our minds, we can decide to not place our self-worth or worth outside of us. But unfortunately, the ego can be sly, and we do have a lot of unconscious parts. That is part of being in duality, that there's parts of us that we are conscious of and parts of us that we are not conscious of. And it's the unconscious parts that our divine counterpart is showing us. And we can decide all we want that we are worthy as long as it hurts what our counterpart is doing. There is still something that we're not conscious of. There's still a wound. Now, I'm not saying this to create another narrative or to reaffirm a narrative. This is just my way of sharing what I've experienced myself, what I see happening in beautiful feminine energy around me and with my clients, of course. I'm sharing this because I truly wish for all these beautiful feminine energies to reclaim their self-worth, to really cherish, that you really cherish yourself, that you really are able to move beyond the pain and the wounds, to not let them block you anymore, but to allow them to be there, to observe them. And it's from this observation that you can go beneath. You can go beneath that layer. And it is there that you will find this beautiful, beautiful feminine energy that we push away, that we only allow to surface when there is a man or a masculine energy present that can support it, that feels safe. So this rejection of worth of the feminine energy is from a place of protection. The part of you that is rejecting thinks it's protecting you. And although that comes from a really good place, that is not helping us in any way. We deserve to truly and deeply connect with our feminine sensuality and with our creativity. And it feels amazing when this can surface in the presence of a beautiful divine masculine energy in another body. But we can learn to do that from within ourselves. And doing this truly is a powerful transformation and rebirth. And it is through the influence of Venus conjunct Pluto in Aquarius on December 7th that we're being invited to release that old outdated pattern of giving away our power. It's a form of dependency out of seeking security. But now there's this call to step fully into personal power and align with a renewed sense of self-worth. The feminine energy is being guided to let go of all that emotional baggage and all those fears that really inhibit authentic connection and that inhibit embracing a higher vibration of love and attraction. And Venus's presence in Aquarius amplifies themes of independence and authenticity. And the feminine energy is encouraged to balance her nurturing qualities with the strength to prioritize self-respect and to set healthy boundaries. And so it is from that deep, deep self-connection and self-love, from that security within yourself, that you're able to feel healthy boundaries and to assert them, because you don't need anything from the outside. It's really nice when it shows up in the right energy, when it shows up exactly how you desire it. But if it's not from this self-worth, you can say no thank you, or yes please. And that is how you learn to trust yourself, because you respect yourself, you cherish yourself, you know that you're going to be there for yourself. And that is how you start to balance the beautiful feminine energy within yourself with your inner masculine, because it is that masculine energy that is acting upon your internal desires. So I've talked about the masculine energy and what the masculine energy is going through in December, and the feminine energy and what she's going through in December, but it is actually the same. The direction might be different, but it is kind of the same. It is moving us, it is balancing us, it is moving us into a state of neutrality where we realize that we are not the reflection in the mirror and we are not the object in front of the mirror. We are the mirror. The objects and the reflections can change, but it is the mirror that will always remain the same. Yesterday I had a session with one of my beautiful clients, and she said something to me that I really thought I wanted to share with you. So thank you very much for being so vulnerable to share that with me. Of course, you remain anonymous. But what I wanted to share with all of you, because I truly feel that a lot of us are doing this. So what my client shared was that she started to use the mirror as some sort of tool that indicates whether she's doing it right. And so when the masculine shows up in good energy and it feels beautiful and it's really nice, then that is confirmation that you're doing it right. And when the masculine is not showing up, or when he's coming in energy that doesn't feel right at all, that we see this as we're doing it wrong. And this way, this is becoming some sort of validation, but this is a form of external validation. And so, yes, we can look into the mirror of what the masculine is showing us about ourselves. We can do that, but it is really important to only see this as a tool for self-growth rather than for validation. And yes, I completely understand all of the positive intentions. We want to be the best possible version of ourselves, but we already are that. We already are that best version of ourselves. We are the mirror and not the object and not the reflection. And so, yes, we can look into the mirror and we can learn from what it is telling us, but we do it from a neutral point of view. The mirror isn't telling us whether we're good or bad. It is just showing us what is unconsciously clouding our perspective. It's showing us what is bringing us out of balance. Whatever is being shown in the mirror, it's always an invitation to love that aspect within ourselves that we haven't seen before, that we repressed or rejected or ran away from. What I've seen being mirrored the last couple of weeks for myself as well and some of my clients is that we're being shown old versions of ourselves. So we've gone through a lot of transformation the last couple of months, especially as we are healing this self-worth. And whenever we shift something, we have to let go of those old versions of ourselves, those old aspects that weren't able to do that yet. So it might be that you weren't able to choose yourself in the past, or respect yourself, or abandon yourself. And what some of us are being shown by the universe in our connections is that mirror of the other person doing the same for themselves, not for you. So what might happen is that your divine counterpart, or maybe some other connection, is showing you some sort of behavior that feels completely unattractive to you. You even feel repulsed by that type of behavior. That is happening because the universe is showing you that you still have to forgive yourself for the past behavior. Accept that you let it happen. For one of my clients, it was actually her divine counterpart that was showing that type of behavior that she did in the past, and she moved on from it, started to respect herself, and now she's seeing her counterpart acting in the same way, and she felt completely unattracted by that, which is, of course, it feels kind of weird when it's your divine counterpart that you love so much. And for me, it came in a very different way. I wasn't expecting that at all. For me, a new connection came in, and I was kind of surprised by how good it felt right from the start. We connected on a deeper level very fast, but it turned sour even faster because this person became infatuated by me very quickly. And when I wasn't able to keep up the pace, suddenly I was on the receiving end of someone really being triggered by rejection and abandonment issues. So I felt that I was either put upon a pedestal or being torn down. It was really strange for me to be on the receiving end of this push-pull dynamic, and it was so confrontational because I recognized my own behavior towards my counterpart in that push-pull from the other person in that connection. I felt that there was no room for me, for what I truly felt, who I truly am. It was, I had to be either this projection of love, of this great woman that this other person wanted to love, or the bad guy that didn't want to respond to his love. And yes, that actually triggered some shame within me, because I know that in the past I've been blinded by my own abandonment issues. And it actually hurt me on a very deep level that I saw my own behavior and that I put my counterpart through this. And I know that in every connection there's a dynamic of two people at play. So it's not just, I'm not the only one responsible in this, but still, it was a weird gift to receive from the universe, and to, truly realize, oh, that's what it feels like when someone does that, when someone is blinded by their trauma glasses. And so there is still this process going on inside of me that is for self-forgiveness of what my energy was in the past. This is not only about behavior, this is about the energy. And it is no one's fault if you carry this wound of abandonment, but it is a chance to clear it. That's the way I look at it right now anyway. On December 12th, there is a Venus opposition to Mars coming up, and that may bring relational tensions to the surface, especially around balancing freedom and connection. And it is during this time that the feminine is invited to communicate her needs clearly and confidently, while at the same time respecting the masculine's introspective process. And it is by leaning into her emotional strength that the feminine can transform these challenges into opportunities for deeper understanding and growth. So there's this challenge to stand in your truth and to communicate what you see is happening, what you need, while at the same time be really respectful of the other person's process. And that's why I shared my personal experience with the abandonment issues, because this can really cloud our judgment, and this can really stand in the way of respecting someone else's process. And as always, that doesn't mean that you accept rude behavior or harsh words. You don't accept that, but you can understand and respect it and leave the other person be if it's not respectful communication. There's also Venus square Chiron coming up, which is also challenging relational dynamics and bringing up insecurities around self-worth or feeling enough in love and values. Both the masculine and feminine energies are influenced by Chiron, who's going retrograde for the moment. Chiron is this wounded healer that emphasizes healing your past wounds and integrating the lessons in a more balanced and unified presence. And as I mentioned, for the masculine, this means slowing down and embracing vulnerability as part of its strength. And for the feminine, it's about stepping into her intuitive wisdom and most of all, trusting this process of transformation. And as I mentioned, trusting the process is also coming from within, the ability to trust yourself, to know that you have your back, and learning to trust that that is the only thing that you can do. There's no control on anything else. So to summarize, this period is about learning to recognize the unconscious voice of the ego that is constantly speaking loudly, criticizing, undermining you. It is about becoming aware of that noise without losing yourself in it. And ask yourself, where is this voice coming from? Can you hear how it puts you down and drives you to seek validation outside of yourself? This voice is a reflection of an energetic wound, one that leaks your power. And if you go within, can you locate this wound? And if you sit with it, can you feel how it is pushing your energy outwards and how it is depleting you? What would happen if you held on to that energy instead? Imagine sealing your energetic vessel, allowing your energy to remain within you, to brew and to transform into something whole and empowering. How would that feel? To find balance, you need to fix this energetic leak and you need to take your power back. Reflect on what you are pushing outward onto someone else. It might even not feel like pushing. It might feel like filling an emptiness, a longing to fill that void that you believe you deserve to fill. But in that space, you are giving away something vital that you need for yourself. What's driving this pattern? Which belief or trauma lies beneath it? Can you really feel it? Can you really understand? Allow yourself to sit with this, to peel back the layers and to see what unfolds beneath the pain of invalidation and unworthiness. Lies a deep desire to connect with yourself, to feel completely accepted, loved, and validated. It is that part of you that longs for validation from another. It is that very part of yourself that you've been rejecting for a long time. When you met your counterparts, they made you feel whole, but it wasn't them. It was you. You felt yourself. They were the mirror reflecting the parts of you that longed to be loved. Take back what you see in the mirror, what you saw in the mirror in the beginning. Cherish yourself. Validate yourself. Dare to love both yourself and the other person deeply. True union comes from aligning all parts of yourself in neutrality. And to be in this neutrality, you need to love and accept your femininity deeply. Find a neutral space. Be the mirror, not the reflection, not the object reflected, but the mirror itself. This is what union truly is. Allow yourself to hear the noise of the ego, but remain neutral. Acknowledge the yelling, but align with your soul and not the smaller self. The reflection in the mirror are projections of the ego, and they are not you, and you can see what they are without judgment. Being the mirror is about seeing what's there and remaining in stillness, balanced and unmoved. And this doesn't mean that you suppress your emotions. It means that you're no longer swayed by them. Your emotions don't define your worth. You are you. I am that I am, and everything else is passing. And it is from this state of neutrality that creation becomes effortless. There is no resistance. You've got you, and you are here not to fix, not to prove anything, not to chase anything or anyone, but you're here to experience. Let seeking dissolve into the simplicity of being. If you like a little help in getting into the neutrality of being the mirror instead of the reflections of the objects, I've created a meditation where you're guided to leave all the narratives and to become this really neutral bridge between all polarity, to shift from seeking into embodied wisdom and to create from that state. If you're interested, it's here in the YouTube shop, and you'll also find it on my website, twinsoulalchemy.com. And if you feel like you'd like to go a little bit deeper and to have private guidance on where you are in your journey, where you might feel stuck and can appreciate my perspective on your own journey, on how you can move forward, then please don't hesitate to contact me to book a private session. Thank you so much for listening. And if you'd like to share, please share in the comments how you experienced these energies in December. And I'm sending you a lot of love and light. Bye.